Hello, you wonderful people. Okay, this was a surprise. I actually had my everything scheduled for tomorrow because tomorrow is Ableton Live 12.2. They're releasing that update, and I've been working on that for a while. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to look at in there. But this morning when I woke up, I saw, and I know you guys are saying when I woke up, they announced it pretty late, but I've been working really late. My hours have been weird. I've been waking up really late. But anyways, I woke up to this Reason 13.3 was released, and I was thinking, well, is 13.3 the old one or is it the new one? And anyways, took a few minutes for me to wake up and figure it out. But yeah, it's this one with one huge change. You've probably heard about it already. And yeah, I'm excited about this because ever since... Okay, well, we'll get right to it. It's the browser that was a floating window, and so many people didn't like it. Some people did. I mean, there's a lot of information, so it makes sense to have, a whole window for it. But I really wasn't able to get used to it, and I tend to work really fast when I'm doing stuff, so it was slowing me down because every time it's almost like you were working on stuff and then you had to stop. There's this thing about multitasking and stuff where they say an interruption. I can't remember what the details are, but every time you get an interruption, like a text message comes in, whatever, it takes like 20 minutes to get back into it or something like that. Don't quote me on the details, but basically, it's obvious. Every time we get an interruption, if we're like focusing on something, anything that slows us down just throws it off and takes a little bit to get back into it. And that was doing that, excuse me, every single time. And yeah, so I'm glad it's back. We're going to look at the implementation, how they did it. I'm going to tell you how I wish they'd done it, but like maybe they will keep working on it. I feel like there was a way to... There's one limitation to it, and I feel like there was a way to avoid that limitation. But anyways, we'll look at that in a minute. And we're going to go through... There are a few other little updates in it. So we're going to have a look at... all of that too, like not just the browser moving, but I did play around with the browser quite a bit. It took me a little bit to get used to like what was going on, and it seems simple because you're just moving it, but it was like how it interacts with other parts of it. Because as you know, with Reason, you've got your mixer, your sequencer, whatever, and yeah, and then the device. What do they call the device palette, which is where you load your instruments, that column on the left there in the browser. So, yeah. So anyways, we'll look at all that. Let's just look real quickly at their announcement. That's what this is here. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'm glad you're here. Even if you don't chat, I'm just glad you guys are hanging around. So, yeah. Okay. So, free update to Reason 13. There are no new devices. There's nothing huge in this update, but anyways, that browser, okay, I won't say everybody because there are probably a few people that actually really liked having it floating, but pretty well everybody was complaining about it. So I'm glad they listened to us, and I'm glad they did it. So, new browser, yeah, it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. You asked, we listened, which we really appreciate, and you can, anyways, yeah, that's the thing. You can move the browser to the left. We'll look at it. We'll look at that in just a minute. And they redid the preferences window. And I wish I had taken a screenshot of it before. There's something else that I took a screenshot of before updating. And, but yeah, it's quite a bit different. They laid it out a little bit differently. I mean, it's just the preferences options menu, but they did make it better. So we'll look at that in a minute. Dialogues and fixes improved. Okay, so basically that's what it is. And they updated the behavior of the mixer, rack, and sequencer buttons to better match the shortcuts. Single click will now maximize that view. I thought I was doing that already, but... shift clicking adds it to your current layout. Okay, so we'll look at that. So, okay, this is just their announcement. And then they did these are the release notes themselves. Maybe what we'll do is we'll load up Reason and go through these these release notes and sort of go back and forth instead of going through the release notes and then trying everything out. So yeah, the biggest thing is this browser that can be put in a side panel. Let's go look at it right now. So this is the browser that you were able to load with. I always did it with Control F. I think you were able to do F9 as well, but and then Control F turns it on, but you can't get out of it. So F9 is a little bit better. And you'll notice this new button right here. And as soon as you press it, you notice it just jumps right into to your side panel here. The one thing you'll notice though is when you do that, this devices thing is gone. So yeah, okay, this is how I would have implemented it by seeing this now, but they obviously may have reasons behind it or whatever. But what I would have done is taken this browser here, and these here, like the tags, a lot of people do use them, but not everybody does use them, right? I would have put this as a toggle. Actually, there we go. We can toggle on and off. And I would have taken this here and fit it under here. So you would be able to use both at the same time. This would I guess they call this the device palette. It would have had to be a little bit wider, but you could have, and that's sort of how it was before. Like I'm trying to wrap my head around how it was like, yeah, in 12 and before. But I'm pretty sure we had the devices at the top and then that at the bottom, but that may not be accurate. Anyways, but yeah, I feel like you should be able to see them both at once. But that being said, I'm not going to, it's one of those don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm happy that it's there and we're able to go back and forth. Yeah, so F3 and F9, which is something else that I noticed. The way these F keys, it's nice that you can go between like the rack sequencer, all of these. It's nice that you can go through these, but I find the way they implemented it is a little bit odd because they're not in order. Like devices is F3, and then what would have been nice, and I understand that like there are legacy shortcuts in there, and it's not that easy, but like in theory, it would be nice if this was F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, and then F8 if we need that. But the way, and then I understand they can't do that. So this is F3, this is F5, F6, F7, I think. Yeah, something like that. But then this one here, the browser, is F9. So when you look at it, you're going F3, then jumping to F9. Okay, I hadn't noticed. I was trying to figure out what the short... Yeah, so you can tell here, F5, and then F6 and F7. So you're going F3, 3, 9, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm assuming this is... Oh, this is just tab. Yeah, that's right. It's just flipping the rack. So yeah, it basically... it's a little bit weird, but it doesn't change... Like, it's muscle memory, so it's not like they don't have to be in order, but it did confuse me a little bit, even just like looking at it and going, okay, which one is it, while you're getting used to what the shortcut is. But anyways, F9 will take you to the browser, and then whether it's in the side or here, like it's the same. And this was the same before, but it's just now if you've got it on the side, the shortcut will open it there. It won't open it there, and you have to keep moving it over. So once you set it there, it's there in your project. But if you want it like that for new projects, and that's what I'm going to set right now. Over here, there's open last song, start up, all these. The use side panel browser in new songs. So if we do that here, every time we open a new project, it'll automatically load on the side. And then even if you do that, like you can, if you want to have more space, like you can move it there, do whatever you need to do, turn it on and off, and then eventually bring it back. But it lets you choose what you want as a default, which is great. So you can put it there. You don't have to think about it. It's so nice to have it back here, but it really bothers me that we don't have this at the same place. And that's the thing. this whole thing about them being in order, I'm realizing now, it's like you're going at this end of your keyboard for the F3 for this, and the other end of your keyboard for F9. So it would be nice if you could just toggle them back and forth. Or even if you could, like, if you guys use DaVinci Resolve or a lot of video editing software, I think will let you do it. You're able to set your shortcuts, like you're able to do your own shortcut template, which would be nice to have. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. So, but anyways, so yeah, so F3, F9. So we've got this. It's so nice to have it back in here. We're going to use it a little bit in a bit. So let's just go back to, that's the main update. And let's just see. Yeah, they're exclusive, showing one and hiding the other. And you can see it's one of those things. You can still see them at the same time if you do it the old way. Like if you do it, like they're basically trying to get ahead of the people complaining about it, where they're saying if you have it like this, you're able to see them both at the same time. But yeah, I really feel like this, like just this part here could have been dropped to the bottom half. But anyways, okay, so open with device palette shown is now a 3-choice drop down. Open with side panel showing, device palette browser off. Okay. Oh, and the reason rack plugin. See, I haven't even loaded this up yet. Let's go have a quick look in Ableton Live. That's something I want to test tomorrow. If you guys do use Ableton Live, apparently it loads more quickly on startup. So I actually did a video of how long it took to start, though it's been a little while and I may have installed a few plugins, so it may not be 100% accurate, but anyways, I wanted to see how much faster it is. So if we go to the Reason Rack plugin, I just want to see how, because more and more people are using it this way. So you've got, okay, so you've got your browser here. Oh, that's interesting because it defaults automatically to this. And then what was it they were saying about it? Open with device palette shown setting is now a 3-choice drop down. Where is it? Didn't I just install? Okay. Anyways, I'm assuming they mean the settings in here. Open. Anyways, let's not worry about this one. But anyways, there's some set. And they did incorporate that browser onto the side panel. I don't even remember how it was set up before, like with the Reason Rack. But yeah. Anyways, new preference setting for default behavior. Let me just go back here. I can't see the chat anymore. Okay. This new preference setting for the default, that's what we did. Focusless mode. Okay, I spent probably half an hour on this today trying to figure out what they were talking about focusless mode, and I checked the manual. Do you guys realize, have you looked at the manual lately? Because I hadn't, and the manual is like 1,500. Hold on, I have it here. Let's go back to the top. Where do we see how many pages? Oh, it's just because I have a search. Anyways, I can't find it, but there's 1,500 pages or something. So that's sort of interesting. I hadn't realized it had grown that much. Okay, so focusless mode is basically this. If we have, and I'm going to do it just with this, just so it's easier to see, but if we're just here, we're not focusing on any device, like we're just going through and trying to figure out, like, these are regular effect patches. We can go to the instrument patches, whatever. And not sure why these aren't. Oh, okay, because we're, like, if we go to the sound bank, whatever, okay, so we're using this. But if we go here to this reverb, like to any device, and we do browse patch, this turns orange, and this is what is considered focus mode. So it's focusing only on the patches for that. That's what they mean by focus and focusless. I seriously, like, I was asking AI in case I could figure something out, a couple different ones. I was searching through video, whatever. I couldn't find anything. And like I said, the manual, but that's what the focus and focusless that they're talking about here. So let's go back here. In focusless mode, which is here where we don't have anything, the browser no longer closes automatically. Now, okay, this I don't feel is a step forward. And like what it used to be was, okay, you'd go here, you'd figure out this, you'd load this, you'd hit enter to load it up, it loaded it here, and this would close and you can work on your stuff. But for some reason like they made it a feature that it stays open. So you, like, I don't know, I don't like it. But yeah, that's what this feature is. I guess it is useful if you want to keep using, if you're trying to do, like if you're loading 3 or 4 devices, but I feel like it should have been one of those toggle on off things. And so yeah, when using the browser as a side panel in browse focus mode, browse patches, whatever, clicking OK will return to whatever was shown in the side panel. So it works the same way, but in the side panel, it makes more sense. Like if we have it here in the side panel, we go through, we load this, and then it's still there. Like we don't want this to disappear, though it would be nice. I don't know. I don't mind having it that way here on the side panel, but having the floating window in the way, like, I don't know. I don't feel that was the most useful way to use it. Like I was saying, it is useful if you're loading up a whole bunch of things at the beginning of a project, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd like it to disappear when when I'm done, or at least have the option, have a pin or something, to keep it open. But anyways, they may be doing more to this. Like I said, we have it on the left, and that's the most important part. The other stuff is just all little details. So when you exit browse focus, clicking OK, the browser will now stay. Yeah, that's and maintain any applied filters. When the browser is in a side panel, it can be resized by dragging. Let's try that. Yeah, because I did notice that if we have this one here, we can't resize it at all. So this does let you, if you have a long sample name or something, you're able to do this and then do this. So, okay, that's good to have. And especially if you're using 2 screens where you have a little bit more space there, you might want that to be a little bit bigger and wider. So, okay, so in narrow mode, the locations column tool shows tooltips to help with navigation. What's narrow mode? Is it just when we... Maybe they're talking about this. I don't know. The locations column shows tooltips to help with navigation. Maybe, I don't know. It could be, it could be that. Because what happens here? Okay, that's what it is. So here, if I hover on it, it doesn't, it doesn't need to tell you what it is because you see it right there. So I guess if it's too narrow, it will actually show you what it is once you hover on it. So, okay, that's a good little addition. When the load default sound in new devices setting is selected, which I don't have on, I used to have it on for a long time, but there's now the option to also start browsing in the folder of the default sound rather than all compatible patches, all locations. That seems like an interesting move. So, so when you do set up a new, if you load up a subtractor or whatever, it'll go to the subtractor folder itself. Okay, so it's a interesting little quality of life update. So, okay, new better looking waveform drawing. Okay, so this I tried, and once you update, you obviously can't go back to the old one unless I was done, install, reinstall, whatever. So I thought I was doing something really good for you guys, but I don't know, it didn't work as well as I thought because I didn't track very well what I was doing, like what I was, which one I was using. Hey, Chill and Connect, nice to see you again. So this here was a screenshot that I took before. And you can tell how it is here with the... From what I understand, they've fixed up the jagged edges. Like, I think they mention it a little bit more here. Maybe, anyways. So they changed the quality of what some of these graphics look like. And what I was hoping to do is take this exact sample and load it with the new one and compare it, but I can't find the exact spot in the sample. But this will give us a little bit of an idea. I think, yeah, this one's a little bit more zoomed in. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And then, so we've got this, and then the other sample that I have is from the same sample pack. It may be the same sample, and we can tell here, let's just make it bigger. But it's tough to compare because, like I said, if I had the exact sample, we could like zoom it into the exact amount. I really tried, but anyway, I should have taken better notes on this. But anyways, you can tell that the sample, I feel like this is pretty close to what it was zoom wise. So, and you can tell it's smoother from this. But like I said, this isn't 100% because this may not be, like, once we go a little bit more zoomed in on this one, it does become a little bit more choppy because, I mean, there's only so much it's able to do. But if I had to guess, like this, maybe this would be close to this. But anyways, apparently the graphics do look nicer on a few different things that they did. They say in the sequencer, the sample editor, and the sampling window. The visual refresh, most dialogue. Okay, so this here, the dialogue in Windows, that's another thing I did before updating. I remembered to... Actually, no, I didn't. I wasn't able to get an alert for stuff. So, and I wanted to do the update really quickly. But if we look here, see if I can zoom in that image. What the dialogue, like if you had an alert, like your song doesn't load, this was a post on Reddit somebody put, and this would be the Windows one. So it was basically the alert boxes like Windows. And then if we go here, this is what it would have looked like on a Mac, I believe. Or is this Windows again? No, I think that's a Mac. Yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's a Mac. But so, and then now I was able to get a quick screenshot of the alert when Reason is loading up. And then this is what it looks like. So really, it's a big thing to make it just, they made their own alert box, their own look for the alert boxes. But I guess they say going between Mac and Windows, it's more, there's more consistency. Like it'll look the same. Okay, we'll have to, oh, see, I could have just clicked on that image. Let's just zoom back out here. Where are we here? Okay, so yeah, so they wanted to have a unified look and their own boxes. It looks more at home in Reason. So that's not a huge deal, but if you've been thinking, oh, it would be so nice if the boxes, weren't the ones from your OS and look like they fit in Reason, they do now. Text and colors have been updated for a more unified look. I think that's throughout Reason, like throughout the DAW. Okay, the preferences overhaul. See, that's what I was mentioning earlier. These preferences, they made some little changes. If you remember, like the preferences, it used to be at the top, you had tabs. And I agree with them. I'm glad they did this because it's not really a big deal, like going left to right or top to bottom, but this does feel a little bit more modern. It feels more like pretty well any other DAW, right? So, and then apparently you can use the arrows. Yeah, you can use the arrows to go through these sections. So it's not a huge thing. We don't spend tons of time under preferences, but I don't know. It does feel, I do like this. And they did separate, I think it's user interface and browser. Let's look at their, Oh, it used to be general. That's right. And then they split it out into user interface and browsing. So let's go back here. So yeah, so these are more, these are more related to the UI, what you're seeing, and this is more related to the browser. And that's where we set up that the side panel in New Songs earlier. So that's good that they split it up and organized it a little bit. Like I said, they aren't huge updates, but, well, apart from the browser on the side. but they're not huge updates, but they're nice little things that make it nicer to use. And by the way, Chill and Connect, if you're still here, tomorrow, I think you were the one, right, that got the Ableton move. Tomorrow, if you don't know, Ableton Live 12.2 comes out. I'll be doing a live stream about that, but I don't think there's stuff. They haven't mentioned that the Move update is coming. There's a push update, but it may help with some stuff on Move. But anyways, you might want to, if you're around tomorrow, we'll be looking at the 12.2, which I thought that would be my only live stream this week. And preferences, more intuitive layout, sections are to the left, like I said. The up and down arrow keys, I do like that. I like shortcuts for stuff. Some settings have been moved, in some cases renamed for better clarity. Show cable animation setting. Okay, the show cable animation setting, I don't think anybody really removed it, but if you're wondering what that is when you hit tab, we'll have to find a device. I can probably do a new one. Okay, so when we hit tab, where the animation, once you hit tab, where they move a little bit, for some reason, like they had it, but they said it was added in, reason 1, like in the original one, to save some CPU. And now, like, for the amount of CPU it takes to do that, it's not necessarily necessary anymore. So they removed it. There is a setting that's still there about the cables. I noticed this morning. There is something about the cables in here, but I thought there was. Am I missing it? Anyways. Yeah, I think there's still something about cables in here, but not. But no, it would be in those first two, right? Okay, anyways. There may be something. Oh yeah, here we go. Hide cables function. Show cables for selected devices only. Whatever. So I actually never really noticed that you can have it just for the selected devices. I like that, because once you've got a more complicated project, the cables, it just ends up a big thing of spaghetti. And hi, Steggy. I hope that's how I pronounce it. Nice to see you. And it becomes a big spaghetti. And so this way, I don't want to hide all the cables, but it is nice to have for selected devices only. I guess I have that on. I hadn't even noticed, but anyways, you do have stuff like you still have the cables. It's just that this animate, you can't have it where you flip it and they're just steady. They don't move. Not a big deal, but probably an unnecessary option in there, unless you really hate to see moving cables. The area buttons. Okay, so the area buttons, that's another thing. Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier, how they were in a weird order sometimes. And then, actually we went through that earlier, and you can shift click the buttons if you want to add it instead of switch it. So instead of having these three, if you want to have 5, 6, 7, these individually. So I guess let's try it here. So we've got the rack. Let's try to add the sequencer. So we press shift and the sequencer. And for some reason, it's not doing anything. It was shift click, right? Oh, shift click the buttons. Oh, so do we have to? Oh, that's weird. Why wouldn't it work with the? Oh yeah. Okay, so I guess it's Command if you're doing it with the shortcuts, I believe.
Welcome to VoiceOver.
Whoa, nope. That's not what we wanted.
Reason. Untitled
Whoa,
4.
whoa,
Window.
whoa.
VoiceOver off.
Okay.
Press Command F5 to turn on VoiceOver.
How do I turn it off? Okay, so that's not what we wanted. But anyways, yeah, so I guess you press Shift and the button, but it's weird that it doesn't work the same way with the shortcuts. But there may be a reason for that. But okay, so we do have that if we want to add, so you can set it up whichever way you want to see it. Remote support. And then the bugs fixed, a whole bunch of bugs fixed. We don't really, if there was something that that you were waiting to get sorted out, yeah, it may be in here. But that is the, that's it for the features for things that have changed. So like I said, it's little tiny quality of life improvements. I mean, I say tiny, but like even I understand how like programming just changing this seems simple to move the stuff from up here to here, like, and then adding the arrows. Like each of these is a big project. Like I'm not saying it's a tiny update, but yeah, for things that, you know, like I said, there's no new devices, whatever. It's basically that this here that we can move it to the left, which I love. I'm going to be using, I feel like I'm going to use Reason more because of this, because I don't know, it just slowed me down too much. I didn't love how it worked, but anyways, so that's the 13.3 update. If you have Reason 13, it's a free update, and you'll notice as soon as you open up Reason, you'll have that thing at the top. And like I said, they did the update at the same time for the Reason rack. It's built in there, so that's nice to have as well. So, and then here, yeah, so here's just the devices. I wonder if, is there a shortcut for, no. I was hoping, but no, hold on, that's one of the shortcuts for, for Ableton Live. But anyways, so that's the 13.3 update, and yeah, hope that was a little bit useful to get it sorted out. It took me a little to wrap my head around this browser thing and how it works of moving it back and forth. But yeah, so not just the moving back and forth, but how it was acting once you were removing it and everything, all the stuff we went through earlier. So yeah, so thanks for watching, you guys, and yeah, I guess we'll see it tomorrow if you're an Ableton user. I'm not sure what time, but yeah, we'll be doing the Ableton Live 12.2 update, which is one thing I want to try because there's an update on the Push 3, and I want to see if it's going to work on the Push 1, because technically it could. There's a comment, I just would like a gray color UI because my eyes, the dark is too dark and the white is too bright. Yeah, yeah, because there are a few themes, right? And yeah, you're right. It is just light and dark. It would be nice. You're right, actually, because like a lot of people like the dark mode. I'm not a big dark mode fan. And in Ableton, like having it something, I do like the gray type feel in Ableton Live and a bunch of DAWs. So yeah, I agree with you. Having this type of gray could look nice. So maybe someday, you know, they do add stuff. They do listen to people. I have a list of things I'd love to see in here, and I'm going to do a video about that at some point. But there were a couple more things today that I was like, oh, I wish it had that. So yeah, maybe they'll be adding a bunch of those things. It doesn't feel like it would be super tough to add that because there already is a lot of gray. Like when you think about it. But so you would want it like more gray than this. Even like, well, even in Ableton Live, there's a setting here for the themes, and there is this brightness that you can adjust. Even something like that would actually make sense because you could go in between, and it doesn't feel. Oh, I don't like. I don't like that. Okay, I'll have to go set that back to what it will. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, I could see that being useful. And okay, see you guys next time. Thank you so much for being here and for watching these streams. And I've had a few people saying they really like these updates. So Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Well, see you tomorrow. Okay. Have a good night.